Ms. Karadsheh, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Brenton. It's great to be here on Scan TV.
Thank you. It's a great opportunity to ask you a few questions which really concern us and the public when it comes to Albanian economy viewed from your point of view. So I would like to ask you first, as many countries with small markets and labor force, Albania has been struggling with the attraction of foreign direct investments during its, let's say, past 30 years at least in democracy. In your analysis, what should be done to achieve this? What would be a first step to attract more foreign direct investors?
Thank you, Brenton. Let me start by saying first, it's really wonderful to be here in Albania. Maybe I'll start by saying where we think we see opportunities, and then we can talk about what we feel the government, the country, the private sector could do to attract investment opportunities. Because one is, where do we think that there are opportunities? And we think right now Albania, it's got a the government has done a great job so far, but there are needs. And what we think, given global dynamics, given a range of different things happening, we see opportunities in Albania in elevating manufacturing and integrating that into the global value chain. We also think that greening opportunities, greening of the economy is an opportunity for Albania for a number of different reasons. The country is strategically located. So there are conversations happening, for example, with EU accession that introduces opportunities for the country. We think what happened with COVID-19 and seeing how global value chains have shifted present an opportunity for the country. So what we think the country can do to capture these opportunities is focus on things like connectivity with the European Union, the economy, both physical and digital connectivity. We also think that on the greening of the economy, we think there's opportunities to do more green energy in addition to help diversify, create resilience in the economy.
So
for example,
you see
solar
potential for Albania to jump into the green energy sector?
Absolutely, yes, we do. Just on that topic, we know that a lot of the energy is generated by hydropower, which I think is very good, but then it leaves it a little bit vulnerable to weather patterns and which can disrupt that. So what we advocate is to introduce some diversification in the energy sector by introducing, for example, solar energy. One of the things that we are seeing, and the topic across the globe and in particular Europe, is energy security and diversification. Diversification introduces security, and so that's why we are advocating for maybe solar, and that's something that IFC is looking at, supporting some new capacity in solar power.
Actually, on this topic, we know that the impact of the energy crisis due to the Russian aggression in Ukraine is now global, it's massive. And in Albania, the costs of living, as in many countries, have gone up, and the economy has been hit. Is there a method in your optics to navigate through the instability? What does this mean for the energy sector in Albania?
So I'll go back to what I was saying. We are seeing that, absolutely, and we're seeing the impact of having reliance on a lot of reliance on one source of energy. So what we are advocating and trying to support countries in the region and around the globe is diversification. And that diversification, if economically feasible, and we've shown that it can be economically feasible by introducing solar power, for example, solar energy, introduces diversification, which then helps improve resilience and increases the ability to adjust. And you have to do long-term planning. There are immediate needs that the government will need to address, but you should never ignore your long-term plans. By putting in place good, solid, long-term plans, it will help you future. We cannot predict if there's going to be another crisis in a year. There may be. By introducing this resilience, will help strengthen the economy in the energy sector and across the economy.
So these initiatives and investments that you are describing, do you think they should be done immediately, should have been done yesterday, or in the near future? So what would be a good timing?
I think now. The government should do it now. So IFC is always an advocate of climate investing, creating resilience. And of course, the climate crisis is real and we can't ignore it. And we're going to see more climate-related impacts across the globe. So we think the time is now to invest into the future. We're having a lot of conversations with clients, with governments, and naturally so, people want to deal with the immediate issue. And what we're saying is that, yes, you can deal with the immediate issue, but please don't ignore the long-term solution. By putting in place good long-term plans, energy diversification being one of them, increasing value added in the economy being another one, integrating in the global value chain being another one, will help then the economy in the country better weather future impacts, disruptions, whatever they may be.
In the World Bank reports, Albania has, let's say, deteriorated in place 82 from 196 countries when it comes to evaluating a stable environment for businesses and the private sector. Can the private sector in Albania actually step in and make up for the shortcomings of the public sector when it comes to business and labor force as well?
So at IFC, we support the private sector, so I would say yes. It's interesting, one of the things I've seen, if you look at the past 30 to 50 years, maybe 50 years ago, most of economies were really dominated by government, right? State, programs, state companies. And if you look at global economies, it's not just Albania, not just in Europe, but everywhere, over the last 50 years, the private sector has increasingly played an important role in the economy and job creation, in sustainability, in just overall economic activity. So to your question, absolutely, the private sector can and should play an important role because and we think there's no one part of the economy that has all of the solutions. And on top of that, we've seen, coming out of COVID-19, many governments have put in a lot of fiscal measures to help sustain and protect the population, which has limited their capacity to invest going forward. And what that means is it's even more of an important role for the private sector to come in and to partner and to help create economic growth in the countries.
Sure, but I mean, in the framework that we have been deteriorating when it comes to business environment, is there like a way out of this? Is there a way to do better? And who is the key actor?
So there's always a way to do better, and there's always a way out. So I would say a few things. Again, focusing on helping to develop human capital. Right? So you train the people and you invest in your human capital, you will get the rewards out of that. So that's, I think, will be important. Looking at where you can focus intervention, I would say going from basic to more value-added manufacturing. That increases skill sets, that improves value added in the economy, that will boost Albania's ranking and how it sort of stands in terms of economic activity. So investing in value-added manufacturing. And that opportunity is presenting itself because of the discussions for EU accession. So you look at those discussions as an opportunity and you invest in parts of the economy enabling the private sector. When I say invest, I'm thinking the private sector into this global value chain and more value-added manufacturing, which will then allow them to be linked to more FDIs, in the global through business networks, through investments, financial instruments, funding, diversification of funding available. Absolutely.
Okay, that's absolutely a great insight. But on another note, and when it comes to helping and cooperating, can you elaborate how the institution that you represent today, the IFC, can help our country when it comes to the context of EU accession, to increase the private sector participation, to build a stronger and more competitive economy?
Yes, so we partner with the World Bank. So you have the World Bank and IFC, and one thing I just want to highlight, it's now 30 years of partnership with the World Bank Group this year in Albania, so it's great to be able to highlight that. So there's a few things, let me share with you. So, you know, IFC's, looking to do is how we can help in the areas that I had mentioned, right? Helping with the business environment, helping, find opportunities in value-added manufacturing, connectivity. So let me give you a few examples of what we've done. So there's a couple of engagements that we've had here and in the green transition. Obviously, that's very important for IFC. So one thing we have is this, what I would call the world. It's the Western Balkans. It's a regional program. It's the light manufacturing value chain. A global value chain project. So what we are doing is through a digital platform, working with the local manufacturing base, connecting them with the global buyers, and leveraging technology. So through that, the companies here then can connect with the global buyers in Western Europe or other parts of the world. And it's been quite a successful program.
So you have built and are offering this network?
So we have created this it's an advisory engagement, leveraging that to create an enabling environment for the manufacturers here to connect with global buyers. So that is one. The other thing that we've had, an advisory engagement that we've done here in Albania, again talking about the business environment, facilitating investments, is what we call the single window blueprint, which facilitates approvals for goods coming in to the country, through clearances, and it's the single window, which may sound like a simple thing, but it's quite impactful because it makes things. You have faster decision making, you have transparency, and that again brings in investment. And the last thing I would like to highlight, and today we've just celebrated a signing of a 40 million euro investment with Balfin Group, again to help them to grow their retail network outside of the city and to green that. And that is important because that also links up with the local supply chain.
Absolutely.
It's employment generation. It gives the local community a place to go and enjoy, some entertainment, some shopping, and employs the local population in what I would call better value-added jobs. So we will invest, we will provide advisory services, and hopefully be able to do more. We're also looking at supporting a 240 megawatt solar plant in Albania as well.
Can you reveal in which region of Albania it will be?
It'll be announced soon.
Okay,
it'll be coming shortly.
Yes.
Soon. Okay. Yes.
Ms. Rana Karadsheh, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Likewise.